The 8th of August, Rabbi Furst, Mishna Berura.
Okay. Good morning again. This is Rabbi Shlomo Furst here in Yeshiva Samanavshi Yerushalayim Care of Zoom. We're learning our second shir today. Mr. Berura help us in the Tilas Yadayim Siman Kuf Samech in Orach Chaim. We're in the Chaber. I guess we finished Yud Beis. I guess we can start Yud Gimel now. Correct?
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, very good. Right. Okay, Siman Yud. Summit and Siv Yud Gimel. Please, Bear, if you'd like to go ahead, you can begin.
Okay. Okay. So it's a very long Mishnah, it looks
Yeah,
like.
we'll break it down into different parts. Let's start.
Okay, so it's Sariki Ebamayim Revi. So one needs to have a revi'it of water. V'hinei milei le'echad.
Honey mealy. What is that? What is this referring to?
Oh, hani
What is it referring to that you need the revies?
Okay, so what is it referring to? Le'echad, to one. Aval l'shnayim, but to two. Sheba'u litol ke'echad. Okay.
Right. That's so you need a revis. That's when you're referring to washing one hand. But if you're going to be washing both hands, you're coming to wash both hands, be'achad, all together. Ha'achar ein tzorich, l'filu b'zeh achar zeh. The acharon, we'll have to see what it means. The acharon, the latter one, doesn't need revis apparently.
Oh, acharon. Ein tzarich. Okay. V'afilu b'zeh achar zeh. Okay. So, but let's see. V'afilu, and even this one, achar zeh. What after that one?
Right.
It's two hands, I guess.
Yeah, you wash both hands together. We're not familiar with doing these things, right? See the Mishnah Berurah here in Samik Vav. What's this with the revis?
Oh, the Mishna Berura Samik Vav Sheheba Mayim Revi'i Shekain Tiknu V'Chachamim L'Netilat Yadayim, and that is a decree from the rabbis for Netilat Yadayim. Oh, okay. So
This is a
there's you need at least a revi. The rabbis say you need at least a revi.
Must have at least the revis.
Okay. V'shofecha b'shnei pa'amim ayadav. Oh, and one has to pour 2 times on his hand. Maybe his hands. It might be plural. The pa'am rishon mitaher ayadayim. Okay, so the first pouring, I guess, purifies the hands. L'shniya mitaher mayim alehem, and the second one purifies the water that's on them.
Right, because the first dousing that removes the tumah. So the tumah is now on the water, but the water is still on your hands, right? So you've got the tumah out of your hands, but it's now on the water, which is on your hands. So now you need the second dousing to rinse off the water, which is tameh, from your hands.
Okay, so I don't know if it's an obvious question, but what about the vessel you're using? If your hands have tumah on them, or possibly tumah, wouldn't that tuma be transferred to the vessel that you're using to wash?
You mean the handles that you're touching.
Right, right.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly, that's true. If you're going to be washing, and your hands are going to be wet with the water that has the tumah on those waters that are on your hands. So, for example, when you're going to you'll wash your left hand is going to pour onto your right hand. Now your right
Right.
hand is wet. Well,
Mhm.
your right hand is wet. What kind of water? What kind of water is on your right hand that's just been washed? It has water which is tummy. So that water is going to be on the handle that your right hand is now touching. So it's now going to pour on to the left hand. Okay, the left hand which is wet will now take. That's why.
Oh, you do it twice. That makes sense.
That's why that's why we properly have two handles. Right, you properly
Uh-huh.
have two handles. Right? So therefore you
Right.
would do it twice. When the left hand will now take, right, the cup, washing cup from the right hand, so that handle that the left hand is now touching is still dry. That's still dry, right? That's still dry. And now it's going to
Correct.
wash the right hand. And that's going to rinse off the waters which are on your right hand. Now
Mhm.
it's true that uh so then the waters, the tummy water's gone, and that's where it is. And now the right hand will take the cup, right? Right hand will take the cup and now give it to the left hand. And it'll also do the same process. Right.
Oh,
So the
okay.
question is when you've taken the first after the first washing of the right hand, so the right hand now has the cup and it's getting water which is tame on the handle of the cup, right? So when it's going to take it a second time, right, that water should now reinfect
Mhm.
uh, the right hand and corresponding the left hand. So we'll have to see. There's going to be discussed why that. See, that's why if we'll see if in fact if you're doing with the revis, really the tuma doesn't is now really goes. We'll see. The Mishnah was going to address this point. Hold on, we'll get to it as I'm sure.
Yeah, good deal. Come on. The good deal. Come. I guess it will be explained below. Okay.
Yeah.
Ve'im shafach harivi'it kula veit achad al shtei yadav. And if he pours a revid, all of it at one time on his two hands, well, that's a trick. Okay. Gam kain nitharu yadav af shelo shafach ela pam achad. Okay, so also his hands will become fit, purified, even if he did not pour, or if he only poured it on once. Okay. Ukimovoar b'siman kuf samik bet will be explained in kuf samik bet. V'chol,
So you see,
yeah.
as you see, it's going to be that point is going to be discussed as we get there in Kuf Samach Bet that the as long as it's going to be a revis on each one of the hands together, bavazal, both yada, kamkein nitar yada, really, it's really going to become pure, right? So
Mhm.
that's why we're always careful with our washing cups. The cups that our standard washing cups that have the two handles on them, there must be almost a half a liter, almost probably almost a half a liter, like 500 milligrams
Right.
those washing cups easily. So that's more than that's like more than 10 revis. That's quite a lot there.
That is true. It sort of reminds me of when you duchen, the Levi pours all the water over your hands. You don't even touch the cup. So
Oh yeah, yeah. That's another. That's right. And he does it both at the same time, I think, right?
that's right. Yeah, you just put your hands over the sink and he douses you.
That's
So
right.
okay, continuing on. Okay. B'chol zeh b'makom she'ein mayim mitzuyim, and in a place, b'chol zeh, and then in a place where I guess there isn't much water. Avav b'makom she'mayim mitzuyim, and in a place. Oh, that you do in a place where there isn't much, where there is she'ein mayim.
Yeah.
Mitzuyim is scarce, isn't it?
Right. That's all. This is all in the case, meaning you're washing your hands both together at the same time. That's all in a case where you don't have water commonly available.
Oh, but when it is commonly available, tov, sheyitol, b'shefa, u'kede'el,
Right.
b'kuf nun sa'if. So it's best
You-
to wash the shefa with
With an abundance of water. It's best to
abundance.
don't be stingy on the water. You should wash with an abundance of water. Like imagine when you're in the shower, you let that water come out nice and hard and fast, and take a nice 10, 20-minute shower maybe. People in there singing away. So you're not scrimpy on. You're taking a shower, you're not scrimpy. So when it comes to washing your hands, don't be scrimpy either. It's different. If you're taking a shower during the 9 days, that's a different story. You have to be careful not to wash unnecessarily.
Okay.
But other than that, people are usually generous with water. As I mentioned several times already, we live, Baruch Hashem, we're blessed with plumbing in the houses, and we have water, taps of water. How many go through your house? How many taps of water do you have? You must have. I'm sure you have at least 4 different taps of water, and with hot and cold, you must have 8 different taps of water. Can you imagine that?
Right.
Water,
Right.
just turn a quick flick of the wrist, and you got gushing out. And what are you 100 years ago? You'd have to go to the river. You'd have to pump. You ever see one of those pumps? Where I used to live, I grew up in America, so the house across the way was an older house. It was an older house. It was like it wasn't a farmhouse, but it was an older house, and it had a pump in the backyard. You wanted water, you go out and you'd pump water.
Yeah.
That's how you got your
I forget
no
what.
plumbing in the house.
Yeah. I think either we went up to New York State or we went to Valley Forge, and they recreated the historical settings, and I think there we saw pumps. You had to pump the
Yeah,
water.
sure. Yeah.
So
But yeah, right. What was it? Yeah, Lou, you remember when we were in Prague last? We went to the base Kvoris, and there was a pump there. Remember, there was a pump where by the base Kvoris we pumped the water for the base to when we washed hands. When we came out of the cemetery, we took that one of the trips we took.
Yeah, I remember that. And also many times when I've gone camping in America, there have been pumps. You had to pump the water.
Yeah.
And also,
Yeah,
many times when I went camping, we had to go down to the river or to the lake.
right.
And we had to filter it because it was potentially had microbes in it. We either had to filter it or we had to put tablets in it and boil it so that
Sure.
safe to drink. I've experienced that. Sure, it's
Sounds like a camp. Yeah.
it's a whole task just to get a cup of water is a whole job.
That's right. It's not like here and we have filters on our taps. We have everything. It's coming out like gold. Baruch Hashem.
I
All
used
right, so we have to be very.
an inflatable plastic jug, like a 5 gallon jug that was made out of plastic. And
I remember that. I remember those. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Yeah, yeah.
you crunch it up and put it in your backpack. And then when you get to the lake, you fill it up. You get water from the lake, and you either filter it or you purify it and boil it, and you pour it into this big jug so that you have water in your camp.
Yeah, that's right. I remember those. Sure, of course. Yeah, that's the way. That's the way people lived for hundreds. Adam Arishon. Go back to Adam Arishon. You didn't even have a pump. You didn't have a plastic jug either.
That's true. That's true.
Right. He had a bucket.
Yeah.
That's right. And I'm not even trying to know when did he invent the bucket? You know,
Yeah, I don't know.
who invented the bucket? Have to look that up. Who invented the bucket? But we have to be very thankful for all the very great blessings that we have. Thank Kadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hashem. Yeah, so therefore, if you have, as we're going to see in Kuf Nun Ches, if you would, right, when you've got water, so you should be able to use it properly and with abundance to fulfill the mitzvah of washing your hands properly and not to skimp on it. Because if you skimp on the water that you wash with, it could be that you'll encounter problems with the secondary continuance of the tumor that you want to avoid. But in general, when you're going to be washing with, as we say, with the full amount of a revis and more, so you'll avoid these questions that may arise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's continue on. Let's see, Samik Zion. Yeah, Echad. What is that? What is the Echad?
According to Google, the bucket was invented 3,700 before the Common Era.
Okay.
Wow.
Did anyone take credit for that?
We've had it for a long time.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Actually,
It's
I'm just wondering 3,700. Just wondering 3,700. So that would put it. Okay, I have to figure it out when that actually
that'd be
lines up.
about 5,700 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, 507. 507. Yeah, 507.
So
Yeah,
maybe you're right.
507.
Maybe
Yeah.
Adam Arishon invented it.
Yeah, that's getting pretty close. 5,700. That's pretty close. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Okay, very good.
Okay, so le'achad, one for one. Ben notel al shtei yada b'vad echad. So if one washes two hands at once, kigona yedei acher sheyito alehem. Oh, so this is like birchat kohanim when a person pours the water over them.
Right.
Yeah, uvein shenotel yada b'chad echad. Or if one pours his hands one at a time, I guess. Achad achad, liolam, sagi b'revi'it, achad b'shtei yadav. Okay, so you still always need to have a revi'it for each of the two hands. Mihu, afilu eino rotzeh litol rach yadav achad. And it appears because one who washes only one hand, kigon shehaya yado achad tahora mikavar. For example, that his one hand is already fit, we'll say, or pure. Gam kain ein lifchot mishior revi'it tosefet v'huva b'veit Yosef. So one is not lifchot. What is that? not to
One should
add
not reduce. One should not reduce.
or reduce. Okay. Uh, from that of a revid. Tosefet.
Right. So the Mr. Brewer is explaining. You might think since one revis is sufficient for both hands, right?
Mhm.
So you might think, well, if I only really need to only wash one hand, meaning, let's say, for example, as the Mr. Brewer said, one of the hands was already tahor previously for whatever reason somehow, right? You might
Right.
think, well, since I only need one revis for both hands, that means really a half a revis would be good for one hand. Good morning, Reb Simcha. How are you today? Good to see you.
Ah,
Well, let me just tune you in. We're learning now in the Mishnah Berurah Simon Kuf Samek, the Mishnah Berurah is explaining to us that really if you have one revis of water, which is not very much, that's a kiddush cup. A kiddush cup is usually one revis, right? That's all you're really obligated to drink for kiddush. So if you have that amount of water, that is sufficient water to mitayer, to purify both of your hands for natilas yadayim, right? But as the Mishnah Berurah has mentioned, if you have water b'shefa, as we Baruch Hashem in general usually do, you should use a lot of water, not to skimp on the water. But nevertheless, it's possible theoretically that one revis can purify both hands. So one revis is sufficient for both hands. So you may think the Mishnah Berurah is excluding from this thought process. You might think that if I only have to put matayah one hand, if one hand is previously tar from whatever reason, however it is, and I only need to matayah my second hand, you may think, well, since one revis works for two hands, that means mathematically a half a revis is good for both hands, for one hand, right? No, the minimal amount that you need for any natilas yadayim, even if it's for simply one hand, is a minimal share of a revis. So therefore, don't use your mathematics, right? Even though we may think mathematically it works out that it's really a half a revis for each individual hand. No, it's really one revis is matar afilu two hands, but nevertheless, if you only have one hand to matar, you still have to use a minimal of a revis even on one hand.
right.
So yeah, okay, that we'll have to pick up. We're reached the end of our time for today. That will leave us with, let's make a note that we're going to review Yud Gimel when we join our up again on Yom Rishon. Tomorrow, anyone that you can, if you want, 9:30 tomorrow, Parshas Shavua with Rashi Be'ezras Hashem at 9:30, if you're well and able to make it. If not, I'll see you beginning of the week, Be'ezras Hashem, on Yom Rishon. You should all have a very good Shabbos if I don't see you tomorrow.
Okay, very good.
Thank you both, everyone, all of you. Be'ezras Hashem. See you all. Thank you.
Okay.